You know the phrase that pays kikank. Yeah, buddy. Guys, I am all a titter. I'm agog tonight, you guys. I got mad words for you. Guys, you know what this is. We're in the dog days of summer, and you also know the boys of summer are here to rescue your Wednesday night. So when you see us, you know these three smiling angelic countenances, you know some things to be true. Bing! You need that Steve Trevor bing right there. One, it must be Wednesday, 8 p.m. EST somewhere. Two, it must be. What else? What's the other thing? What's the other thing that I say?
You're all a titter.
Oh, okay. I am a titter. I also know it's pitched me. I must be dreaming time. Well, hello, you guys. Welcome back to Pencil to Pencil, your favorite live cast brought to you by three expert cartoonists. Yep, see? It must be true. I got a wish. Guys, let's do some introductions. I am your first host out of three co-hosts. My name is Jamar Nicholas. Besides looking very dashing in this orange shirt, I also have some other hats I wear. I am the second vice president of the National Cartoonist Society. So there's three going at one time. I'm the second. I'm also the Philadelphia chapter chair. Go Birds. We're going to talk about Philadelphia very soon. And also, I am a graphic novelist. I have a series at Scholastic Graphics. Leon Extraordinary is the name of that said series. Worst Friends Forever is in stores now. Steve Conley, tell them what to cop.
Cop it. Why don't you?
Love it. Oh, we got a hashtag. Yes. I love it. But I would be remiss. I'd be in remission if I did not introduce my co-host, cohort, and co-conspirator. I told you, he smashed Haystack Calhoun over the head with a wooden chair in Biloxi, Mississippi last week. He's making a statement. He's coming for the World Heavyweight Championship of webcomics. You know him in these streets as Stone Cold Steve Conley. What's up, Steve Conley?
Gentlemen, it is so good to see you. This is a lovely Wednesday. I also am all a titter. I'm mostly a titter. A high percentage of titter. My name is Steve Conley. I write and draw the webcomic The Middle Age, your 23rd favorite webcomic and moving up. You can read it over on Webtoons, Go Comics, Tapas, and over on my own website at middleagecomic.com. I also make TTRPG stuff. So if you play the Dungeons and the Dragons, the latest one is called Stabracadabra. You can find it at stabracadabra.com. It's coming to Kickstarter before you know it. But I would be remiss if I didn't introduce the Tower Power of the Man of the Hour. Too sweet to be sour. The marvel of mark making, the maestro, Mr. Mike Manley.
Hey-o.
Wow. Good evening. My marvelous marks and remarks to you.
I love it. I love it.
My name is Mike Manley. I am over 40-year, oh my God, over 40-year veteran of this back-breaking occupation. It forms your body into the perfect L-shaped figure for drawing.
That's so funny, Mike. It's funny. I was having a conversation with another cartoonist not too long ago, and I feel like maybe things have changed over the years of from the bullpen era to kind of where we are now, where we think we're a little more informed about posture, ergonomics, stretching, things like that. Do you still see? Do you still see guys with the drafting table hunch, or do you think people are kind of?
I don't see people, but I do think that everybody I know who draws has problems at one point or another with their back. I mean, I know people in their 20s. I know teenagers that complain about their, you sit all day and your back gets stiff, right? I mean, it's just the way it is, I mean, it's really not a great thing. I have a much more expensive chair than I had before, but still,
right.
If I go a day without at least doing some laps or doing my stationary, my lower back, like yesterday, my lower back was tweaking because I pulled 2 long days, finish the strip. My back, that thing where like, you get and everybody always says like the one side. It's for me, it's like my right side.
Yeah.
That soreness that could, you could tweak your back. That would be it. Just one, because I've done that a couple times over the years. I did that once. The first time I threw my back out was in my 20s. I think I was might have been working on Darkhawk.
That's young. That's young.
Before I lived here, I lived in West Philly.
Yeah.
And I was, it was routine to pull all-nighters back then.
Right.
And I thought, okay, I'll lay on the floor, just get a little cat nap. Because if I go lay in bed,
that's it.
Right?
That's it. Yeah.
You go lay down there, you undo your belt buckle, that'll be it. Straight into Odin sleep, right?
Your Al Bundy hand, right?
Yeah, right. So I laid down and I went to get up, and it was just like my back went kunk. I threw my back out, and I couldn't get up.
Wow. And
my dog at the time, Sebastian, was laying on the floor next to me, and he's like, "Oh, you want to play?" And it's like, no, I don't want to. So I had to like fling my body over, grab the table, and
like pull
myself up. And I've thrown my back out twice. Once really bad, where I actually had to go to the hospital and to give me muscle relaxers, and I couldn't walk into the hospital. I actually had to crawl because I couldn't stand up. So I've known people who've really thrown their back out, and I know guys that have constant back problem, and the only way they can fight against it is to literally make sure that they exercise, because some people might have scoliosis, or you might you get that thing where what is it? We have this curvature of the spine. You also have, as you age, some people get a thing where your spine starts to compress. When it compresses, it pinches on your nerves.
Sure.
I know people in their 20s that have bad backs because they have scoliosis. They have curved spines.
What do you do to combat that, Mike?
I just make sure that I ride it seems like if I ride the bike, I get at least a half an hour on the bike. Try to do that every day. Like I did it this afternoon.
That's great.
And then I stretch. Like I'll do some squats. And that stretches everything up. And when I used to go to the gym, one of the things that really helped was the lat pull down. Because when I did that, you could go, it almost felt like your spine going like.
Sure.
Yeah. That's the real kick-kank right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It literally was a kick-kank. And then when I threw my back out, the doctor in the hospital showed me a couple exercises to do, laying on the floor with your legs up. Where's my little dude? So Mr. Fison will show you. So you lay down, you put one leg up, and you cross the other knee over, right? One leg, and you cross your knee over.
Whoa!
With your arms out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That rotates your spine, right? And then the other one is you put your leg flat and you reverse it. You do for each leg. And then the other one is you put your arm back and you pull your leg up.
I love it.
Like so.
Steve,
are good for demonstrating.
I love it. You had
exercises.
You had that right. You had that right on.
So if my back gets a little tweaky, like earlier this week was getting a little tweaky, I did that, and that
got you right.
Yeah.
We should say we're not medical professionals.
Everybody has to learn your own body, right? Everybody has to learn your own body.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I know about drawing for as long as I have, right? Everybody I know who draws as a career has problems. Eye problems, back problems. A lot of people get tennis elbow. We talked about that before. I know a friend from holding their phone.
Wow.
People who are young and use tablets, carpal tunnel. People who hold their phone, carpal tunnel. Anything that you repeat, those same small movements over and over again, over the course of 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years.
Right.
And if you got any quirk in your body, in your frame, like I said, if you're got a weak back or whatever, so it's, you have to know yourself. Like I know the other day when I was working, I was done when I stood up, like, oh, my back was killing me.
Yeah.
Really. So I know now at 63, 12-hour days really tire my back more than they did when I was 50. It would maybe tired when I was 50 to do that. But so you kind of have to know, it's like, know yourself, know what's good for you, pay attention to that.
I love it. Know thy John. I love it.
Yeah, your back, John.
And I don't want to leave you out of this, Steve, but I know we all deal with things, but how do you kind of protect your neck? Shout out to Wu-Tang Clan.
I remember watching that Studio Ghibli documentary where like that little bell would go off and everyone would get up and stand up, get away from their table and just start doing their arm exercises and things like that. Oh, that's civilized. I need to do that. So I'm basically just stretching, trying like Mike said, I'm trying to stay ahead of it, trying to keep the machinery operating as long as possible.
Well, it's funny that this doesn't sound sexy, right? This is like, oh, what are these old guys talking about? Their backs and their carpals and their tunnels. All of this stuff is related, right? So for us as your 3 expert cartoonists and hosts to stand in front of you to talk about this stuff, we talk about all of it, warts and all.
Young people like to laugh at old people, but that's a real common thing. But once you're past your teens and you're into your mid-20s, if you go over 28, your body starts to die, right? You start to age. And I know, like I said, I know a lot of people in their 20s who have physical problems from drawing, right? So you can laugh, but it eventually catches everybody.
Oh yeah, I had that golfer's elbow, so they gave me these exercises I got to do. It's again repetitive, just all that's I'm sure it was enjoying all that chainmail. I had a
Yeah, yeah, that chainmail. That's it taking years off of your life. But you know what is?
And the blue light from the screens, right? So some people wear
those the blue blockers. Yeah.
Right, because we haven't had people looking at screens for 50 years. What's that going to do to your retina when you're 40 if you've been staring at a blue light screen since you're in your 20s?
That's very true. Like, I guess time will tell in some other ways, but also just getting good rest.
Everybody's like, what?
Drinking water, all that stuff is really helpful, especially in a heat wave. But you know what's even hotter than the sun right now? Our guest tonight, Kennon James, has returned. You guys, blow the bugles. Kennon James is back in the
ram's horn.
Blow the horn of Gondor. Our man Kennon James is back. And if Kennon James calls for aid, pencil to pencil. Very excited to nerd out tonight. We had Kennon on a couple of years ago. Where's the time go? To talk about his very fantastic illustrating style and his illustration career and our love of gaming and TTRPGs and all that stuff in between. And now there's been some movement. Kennon, as we all are working artists, has done a lot of stuff since we saw him last. And he's got some new projects to talk to us about and also some stuff to hype. So very excited. Kennon, be prepared for rendering. We're going to bring in Kennon James right now.
All sit up straight. Proper.
Ping. I just rolled nice. I just rolled a nat 20. Critical. Welcome back, Kennon. How are you, brother?
I am great. Thanks for having me.
Hope that didn't take too long. I hope
my back hurts now for some reason.
I hope you did your stretches while you were waiting to come back here. Good. It's good to see you, man.
Thank you very much.
The chat is full of people who were sitting at the edge of their seats waiting for you to get here. So I'm really glad.
I paid them all. Yeah.
Oh, well.
I sent out checks this.
Shout out to Corporal Ziggy. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. So we're just going to jump right into it. In the thumbnail post that we put to kind of advertise the show and to give you the show link, I put in a URL for your last session with us, so that people can get caught up. Like, let's not act like we don't know who this dude is. Go do your game film, get ready, so we can just jump right into it. So,
I think we're talking about the 3x3 Kickstarter, so it has been a while. It's crazy.
Yeah. So let's just start from there. So when we saw you last, you were talking about your 3x3 Kickstarter. How did that do, and where are we at now?
It's cool. It wrapped up. I pretty much let's see, what have I done since then? I delivered on that, and then I rolled into another Kickstarter that was unsuccessful last year. Me and a buddy tried another RPG Kickstarter. It didn't fund, but it was okay, and we went our separate ways. And so I had a bunch of illustrations. I was kind of having a moment one morning, and I was like, man, I got all this art that's not really doing anything anymore. So I decided to do the Monsters book, and just wild hair just kind of loaded up the Kickstarter and said, well, we'll see if this does anything. So, and that was it was almost a year ago, something like that. God, time's weird. 6 months, 8 months. Anyway, so the Kickstarter went well, surprisingly well. It's almost wrapped up. I'm about 75% delivered on that, and I didn't want to really promote the book too much until I had taken care of my Kickstarter people. And now it is loose on Amazon, and I am just out here trying to promote it. So
yeah. Well, I'm glad that you have a platform that you can come back to. So
thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So, one thing that we were kind of talking about in the green room that I thought that we could talk about, because especially in the world we live in right now, Kickstarter is a major kind of avenue nowadays to get your projects made. And when it was kind of like this weird little like funky stepsister that was at was at your reunion. Now it's like it's legit, and people are like, oh man, I need to find a guy who can help me run my Kickstarter, or I'm gonna go, spend money on some sort of like tutorial on how to. What if you can maybe give us a couple of bullet points? What do you think you've learned over the process of you doing Kickstarters that'll make your next campaign maybe run differently or smoother? Any roadblocks or things that you just went, man, if I had only.
I would say don't get too ambitious and have your project at least 90% done before you go for it. There's going to be other roadblocks that are going to happen without you still having to finish your project. So the closer you are to complete, the better. I mean, I had both my last two Kickstarters were complete books when I started the Kickstarter, and they were still delayed 6 months, so you're always going to run into unforeseen problems without having to worry about just finishing the work.
So what kind of problems do you run into?
Mainly, well, the 3x3 was just delayed by shipping. That book was printed in China, so the printing took, months. And then
that was still kind of at the end of the lockdown, right? So
yeah,
it's still, right?
Yeah, it's weird. And then this Kickstarter with monsters, I did all through Amazon. And Amazon had given me no reason to think that they would deliver bad books. And so, because I went back and forth, I had the book completely done. I had ordered samples and everything looked good. I thought, cool, as soon as this is done, I'll place a big order. Right. Well, I did that, and Amazon sent me, over half of the order were books that I couldn't use. They were so poorly printed, damaged. So, and I had to send all of those back. And with Amazon, when you order author copies, they're super slow. Like, it's not overnight. Like, they're in a big hurry when you're paying full price. But if you're getting your author copies, they are super slow. And it's the same thing with the return. So anytime I get a damaged book, I send it back. It's 3 to 4 weeks before they get it to me, 3 to 4 weeks before they get it back. And then on top of that giant order, it was such a large order that for whatever reason, Amazon divided it up into smaller groups. So when I sent it back, all of the verification for them receiving the return had to go through all these other steps. And it was just page after page of, it was a huge mess. So now I sent them all back, got all that taken care of. But now I've learned that I only order my author copies in batches of 10. So I'll just wait for 10. If they're cool, I get to move forward. If 3 are damaged, I send them right back and start that process. And so, it was a mess. So,
wow.
So does that really work logistically for you if you're tying up a lot of money and you're shipping, you get 3, you send out 3 go back, how does that work for your workflow if you're doing all this yourself? Because you're not hot, that's your time. Your time is money. Your time is away from the board. How does that?
It's been a huge mess. Certainly. Luckily, I had enough books on hand after all that, when I started telling people I have the books and they're starting to ship, I had enough books on hand that I could use to fulfill the people that had already filled out, were really fast on their surveys and all real fast on their postage and that sort of thing. So I could fill it. So it's kind of cool that I have stragglers that are slow to fill out their surveys or slow to get postage, because it's kind of working out now. I filled out everybody that I had, but it delayed everything. I thought I was going to have the whole thing I think I started that Kickstarter in January, and I was expecting to have it completely done by March, and I didn't start shipping books until June, and I'm still getting. I just put in an order for another 10 books this morning. And yeah, so every once in a while somebody will say, I completely forgot about it. Here's postage. And I just do everything and it's out the door. But
the book turned out beautiful. I did not even, I wasn't sure it was print on demand. I thought this could have been some other printing process, possibly offset, but it's gorgeous.
I'm glad you're happy with it, because I'm a stickler about what I send out. So I was not going to send out damaged stuff and just subpar stuff. And I've heard that people were just like, whatever Amazon sends me, that's what I'm going to send out. And I wasn't going to do that. So.
Yeah. Like your name is all over this stuff. Why would you?
Exactly.
Right. How could you? Right.
Right.
And I don't want you to feel like we're beating up on you. This is just part of the business.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? And
if I can warn anybody off of that, it's all a learning process. And like I said, Amazon gave me no reason to think that it would happen like that, but I had never ordered a giant group of books at the same time, so I didn't foresee the problems that arose. But now I know. So
like one of the things that we've talked about, we've had several conversations about Kickstarter over the years, and every time we have them, they change a little bit because the water keeps rising or lowering. It changes every time. But I always like to come back to the part about the things you don't see, like the underneath of the iceberg parts of things like this is, managing your database of all of these people that, somebody's late, somebody didn't put the street number on their thing, and now that's yellow, this is red, this guy he never answered the thing. There's a lot of management there that I think people just like, oh, I just get a big check, and then I guess I'll just,
and you just it's just easy and it just happens magically. Running and fulfilling a Kickstarter should go on your resume for sure, because you learn a whole new, it's a whole skill set in itself, and you learn more skills as you do it. And it's a big deal. My Kickstarters aren't huge. I can't even imagine those big Kickstarters. Like you would have to hire people for those giant Kickstarters, I would think, because man.
Like the fulfillment centers and things like that.
Yeah.
And so, but also, I don't want this to deter people from doing it. It's just kind of, you have to know what you're getting into before you press the button on that. So, tell us a little bit about, because I know you haven't just been doing Kickstarters for 2 years. You've been doing other stuff and doing some freelance and things like that. Anything you want to spotlight before we get back to Monster?
No, I got a lot of things cooking. I just signed a contract for an 8-page sequential story that I can't really talk too much about, but that's pretty cool. Like, I'm dipping my toe back into that realm. And I can't talk about it too much. I don't want to go off too, but I'm pretty excited about it, but I'm also really nervous about it too, because I haven't done sequential stuff in a while. But there was a time in my life that I wanted to be a comic book guy and I realized that I was way too slow to not kill myself doing it. So I shifted gears a bit and pivoted, and but now I'm getting to try it again. So we'll see. We'll see how it happens. But
so, well, maybe we can not talk about your project, but talk about maybe some of the differences between doing sequentials and doing kind of, for better or worse phrase, spot art, right? And we could talk about spot art as, say, you get contracted to maybe do, like, I'm just making something up, like 10 illustrations for somebody's periodical, and then you might get a schedule, and these are, like, I don't know, maybe hot words for it, and then you just start the process. That's a whole different stop and start than getting a script from somebody and doing sequentials.
Right.
Right. So do you find that maybe just more comfortable in doing like spot illustrations?
I mean, that's
like they're two muscles, right? They're two different muscles.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I kind of handle the spot illustrations the same way I would handle panels in a sequential.
Okay.
So I kind of try to tell the story with one thing. It's not very often that it's a static image. So it's kind of, I try to, be as informative for the story. When people see this, I used to love when I'd look through the old D&D books, and there would be an image, and you would, it would tell a story just from the image.
Right.
You're like,
Right.
oh, there's a wizard doing this, and there's this guy doing this, and and so that's what I try to relay. So.
And to that, and again, I don't feel like I'm leading you. I have a lot of questions in my head. So, kind of like going with this whole thing about like doing a spot illustration kind of project. So, how much detailed information would you get from, let's say, you're doing like a supplement for like a game company, and this is like a high fantasy thing, and are some of your spot art suggestions like magic wand, secret door, dagger, thief, you know what I mean? Or is it more like have this guy do this and somebody's jumping off the thing? Like what kind of notes do you usually get from
every client? Every client's different. Some clients are just like, here's the page it's going to show up, and here's the empty spot.
Wow.
Just you can go for it. And some will say, I can give you some ideas if you want. And some other clients are like really specific, and they have like, I want a female halfling doing this, or I want to, like some are really specific, and some are pretty loose, and some are just like, here's an empty page, just fill it, So
what do you like?
What do I prefer? I prefer direction, actually, because if I've given a blank page, I'm just kind of like have analysis paralysis. I'm like, oh gosh, it's cool. It's cool, especially with a work day, when you're just like, you want to sit down and thinking is part of the process. And if that's just like, hey, I was thinking of just putting this there, that kind of speeds things up. I don't have to sit there and go, I'm going to read the whole page and okay, I could do this, or I could do this, or, so I prefer to have some direction.
Does every company have an art director? Does every company you work with, like it was not uncommon back in the old days for someone to even give you like a really crappy sketch, like just to give you an idea so you could bounce.
I like those too. I mean, that gives me an idea of where they're coming from too. So, but no, I work with a lot of smaller companies that are generally like not more than 4 or 5 people for game companies. And some are just like one guy, and so sometimes I get to work with art directors, not often. Like Goodman Games, I go work with Goodman Games, and they have an art director, and they're a larger company. But the clients I generally work with are pretty small operations, so usually no, it's the owners or the people that are writing the stuff that are wearing multiple hats. So
right. And what is the process as far as like rough sketch approval, correction, and how many corrections do you give?
I generally will do as many corrections as need be. I'm not too. I mean, I should maybe do that, worry about that, but I don't. I usually like I get contact a lot from social media. They'll say, available, what's your page rate, and then I'll email them back and say, this is my page rate, divided accordingly, if you have, and then they'll come back and say, and also I'm usually have a working queue of about 6 to 8 weeks. So if you want me to put you in the queue, then cool. And then they will send me, and I'll tell them, like, send me your art order over whenever you want. I mean, the sooner the better. And that gives me an idea, or that gives me time to start rolling around in my head. And then I'll just do a rough, which is kind of what shows up in the monsters book. Like if they want a monster illustration, it'll be about that tight. As like the monster book has the rough I sent them originally on one side, and then they'll say, they'll come back, say, yeah, that looks cool, or I, changed this, or and then I'll
go ahead, Steve, do that again. That's cool. Yeah.
I'll do a tighter rough and then send it back, and usually it's 1 or 2 rounds of that, and that's it. And then I send the final after that. So.
Do you have stages of pay? Like sometimes when you work on a project, you get you turn in your roughs, you get paid, or you turn in your pencils, you get paid. You turn in your finishes, get paid.
I mean, it's generally I don't do this anymore, but it's kind of standard to do half up front and then half on delivery. I usually just do I don't take any money until I'm done. I don't suggest that for anybody. That's just the way I do it. Because I know that if I start taking money, then it'll slow me down. I need that carrot at the end. So that's just the way I work. And like I said, I'm not giving anybody financial advice, but that's the way I do it.
We're not financial experts here at Pencil to Pencil.
Right.
I get that too. I'd rather be owed money than owe artwork.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
Really?
But I also learned after being burnt enough times to basically double my prices and ask for half up front.
Yeah. I mean, because I think, especially for people who are younger and are starting out in their career, they don't really know sometimes what to ask, right? If you're with a long established company, you figure, well, they're probably not going to go belly up maybe before they pay me. But if you're working for mom and pops, like one bad Kickstarter or one bad, check bounces from some vendor, and all of a sudden, like, well, I know I was going to pay you on the 30th, but, like.
See, what happened was. Right.
I also have a very shout out to my wife. I have an awesome wife that like has a her job gives me the flexibility to not have to be desperate for
that means a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, if I was doing this by myself, I might do things differently, but
well, you know what, Ken, this is interesting because I just thinking about this because we've been around long enough that I've been in spaces where I've seen clients who kind of try to claim ownership over you or your time, especially if they gave you money. Right. It's like, yo, I gave him half of this project money. Well, I saw him play a pickleball down at the courts. How dare he? So
especially with social media, if you're posting art, clients don't necessarily know if this is old art or this is something you just did, and you might owe them something, and they're like, hey, where's this? Why is this art getting pushed in front of mine? And it's like, dude, I did this a year ago, and I'm just posting this just to keep the algorithm aware of my existence. I need to keep posting. So that's another reason I don't like taking art up front, because I don't like people thinking that they can go, hey, what's going on with so
that's pretty savvy of you, in a way, because again, like, they get it when you give it to them, what I mean, and now it's back on them to make sure the money's there when it's time to pay up. But yeah,
any clients listening to this, any people that are going to hire artists, don't ever tell artists, hey, just get to it when you want to get to it, because you're going at the back of the line, man. Like seriously, like
Steve's
I've had
laughing.
people, I've had people get bent out of shape, and I at me because I was doing other work in front of theirs, and they specifically told me, like, hey, you know, like, anyway, I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus, but like,
No.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
don't tell artists to just take your time, because they will take their time. So
Yeah, and I think they think they're helping you out, but that's kind of counterproductive to
right,
how we think.
right.
Kenan, I didn't ask your permission, but I just started putting your images up while
Yeah,
we were
yeah, it's
talking,
awesome.
and we're already getting some really great feedback in the chat. So now I know, you know, unless you don't really put a lot of captions under your pages. Is some of this stuff client work? Is some of this stuff you just kind of like making stuff for the portfolio?
No, 99% of the stuff is client work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hardly ever do any work just for kicks now.
So I would love to just kind of like kick this one around a little bit. This is in my head a perfect piece of spot art where your directions could have been a really creepy cave entrance,
Right.
or right, and then where do you go with that? So
Yeah, this was for a cover of a module, and it was specifically the client, Dr. Greg Gillespie. Shout out to Greg; he's a great client. He wanted a monochrome cover, like the old D&D modules, and he was very specific. He wanted a barrow crypt entrance, and he's actually gone over to Europe and had tons of reference photos, and he was very specific about what he wanted, and he gave me a lot of great reference photos for this. But yeah, he was, and the crow is on the back, and this is on the cover. So
so this one too,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Oh,
that's on the back, and then the barrow maze, or barrow, whatever it's called, barrow mound. There you go. Was on the front. So
your use of silhouettes is phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
So like, you know, we can't go over every client, but generally when you're dealing, especially with like gaming companies, because I think, and you know, you can tell me if I'm wrong, that the clientele of a gaming company are kind of like gamers, right? And they kind of know what they want, but you just got to make it materialize in front of them. So I would assume you don't get a lot of pushback. I'm assuming you get a lot of, this is awesome.
Well, it kind of depends. I mean, some again, every client's different. Some are just like, this is great, and then other clients are like, well, let's try this, or I wasn't thinking this should be like this, or you know, and you know, it's fine. It's you know, it's part of it. It's just people's personalities. You know, some people are you know, have an idea in their head, they just haven't seen it yet, and then others are like, that looks good, you know. So
do you have any revision rules in your studio? Like, okay, I'll take 2 or 3 of these, but after that, I'm charging you again. Like, how do you normally?
No, again, I might, maybe I should, but no, I don't. You know, I kind of pride myself on, like, client's going to be happy at the end. I want them to be happy. So we'll do it until it works out. So.
Oh, wow. Our good buddy Paul Pate says, this is awesome.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul Pate. Yeah. So, you know, if it feels like we're kind of like really digging through client work, I think it's a really interesting part of all of this.
This guy was done for fun, actually.
This is a funsies.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll switch over for a second, and maybe Mike, we could talk a little more about process. You talk about kind of like, you know, I see some of your underdrawing here, but your stuff seems like it's very meticulous and by hand, and you just kind of keep attacking. What's your process for kind of finishing something like this?
It's funny. This is, I mean, I don't really work traditionally anymore. This was kind of an older piece from a couple of years ago. 99.999% of the time, it's all digital. It's just easier to make revisions when the clients want changes. But funny enough, now people are actually getting interested in buying my originals, so I'm starting to shift back into doing traditional stuff. But I mean, if you see behind me, my drawing table's got crap all over it, so I haven't gotten there yet. So
yeah. This is cool. I like when people say in the real comments, "Why was this video 4 hours long?"
right.
We keep looking at the loop, but yeah, this is cool. Mike, do you have any tool questions or anything like that?
Yeah, I was going to ask. So, are you marker or are you nib?
As in like
regular.
Oh, you're talking about like dip pen or
yeah, dip pen.
Oh, yeah, it's all felt tip stuff. Yeah.
And that's permanent Indian ink.
I hope so. I don't know. Honestly, I don't pay that much attention. I use I think that was a zebra brush pen, I think, in that video. And I love those. I just bought a new box of those. Actually, it came in yesterday, and I just use what I see other artists using, and I love getting new art supplies. So if I see a video, if they don't specifically say what they're using, then I'll ask them, and then I'll just order it on Amazon and try it out. So
because my first thing is it archival, right? That's always my first question. I'll see like, oh, that looks cool. Is it waterproof and is it archival? Right?
Yeah, I don't worry too much. I probably should. I've had people. I mean, I did a whole 100 and something Post-it notes, and one of my buddies was like, "Those aren't archival," and I'm like, "Yep, sorry, I don't know. I mean, just I'm not really that worried about it. I don't know. Maybe I should be, but I'm not. Yeah.
This is one of your Post-its, right?
Yeah.
I just looked at something. I was digging through some stuff earlier today, and I found some drawings that are probably 15 years old. And some of them are markers that were permanent, and some of them were, probably, I don't know, like a pilot or whatever. It's just, I was just doodling. And some of them are like, they're 50% now. They're fading away. So I'm always a big proponent of using permanent tools, because you might think, oh, well, it doesn't really matter now, but 20 years from now, that drawing might be worth a fair amount of money, and you might be able to sell it. And if you did it with fugitive material, you might not be able to. It might actually just disappear, because the longer your career goes, the more valuable the work you do becomes in general. So, that's why Frazetta stuff is still around, because they didn't have markers back then. Everybody was working in pen and ink. So all the pen and ink or pencils. So now, I mean, you can use like Copics or whatever, or you can take like a Z brush if it's not waterproof. You can actually replace the ink so that it is waterproof.
Right.
Kennon, how beholden are you to reference, especially with stuff like this, or do you just kind of like, keep one foot in fantasy? How do you?
I'm a fiend for good reference. I used to not use reference earlier on in my career, and I wish I'd have used more reference. I wish someone would have told me when I was in my 20s to use more reference, because I would just try to draw stuff out of my head because I thought using reference was cheating. And some of the stuff was just awful, and I'm just like, oh, I just could have just got a picture of something, and that would have been way better. So yeah, I use lots of reference.
I love how you turn that into your style. I love how that's how that started out as a photographic reference or something, that it's totally your style. That's fantastic. The proportions, the the chunkiness of it. It's awesome.
Thanks.
I think it's always a weird thing too. There's a couple versions of using the reference is cheating, right? Right? Or using photographs instead of the live model is cheating, right? You would get that in when I was in school, and it's like, every artist in history used reference if they could, right? I mean, they did studies, I never really understood that, but it is a thing that still persists, and then eventually, you go, yeah, that makes no sense. I should use reference, especially if you're drawing like armor and middle-aged stuff, or ancient stuff. And so
I used to try to draw houses from out of my head, and it was ridiculous. Like, it was like, why didn't I just get a picture of a house to use as reference? And I would just try to draw houses out of my head, and it was just ridiculous. So, yeah. Reference for sure.
Yeah, I still see that. It kind of like, it's like like you're in the stadium and there's the wave that goes around, right? Like it goes through and around all the time. You'll catch it in different conversations, like, oh, don't use reference, that's cheating. And then the other one is like, no, you're a professional, you need to use reference, right?
Yeah, I mean, people that say it's cheating probably aren't on a timeline, aren't drawing for time, because if you're drawing and it's, anything to speed up the process is, just do it. I mean, it's not. I mean, no one's coming to your house and giving you a trophy for not using reference, So
maybe more in comics, where people, like, there's whole communities of people that just want to catch you with your pants down, Kennon. Like, oh, that's like there's swipe sites where people just want to like collect data, trying to frame you as being somebody who uses images.
Right.
We're not even talking about AI. This is just straight. I found this Japanese Elle magazine, and that's the same shoulder. I saw it.
Right.
You can't fool me.
Yeah. Well, like today, I'm using reference on the strips because it's a emerald mine in Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what an emerald mine in Africa is, right? So am I just going to start, just drawing some bullshit, or I mean, I could probably fake an old mine in the old West with a rickety cart, and the beams or whatever, but if you're going to draw something very like a real thing, so yeah, like part of it is like Google. Part of today was Google finding a bunch of reference and then knowing how to. Okay, so you've got like this example here. You may like those boots or a bow, right? Like if you don't draw a bow right, it just makes you look like you don't know how to draw a bow and arrow, right?
Right.
How many people can draw a crossbow out of their head?
Right.
And it's like, maybe once you've drawn the crossbow like 10 times, you can probably draw a crossbow out of your head, right? But it just seems like it makes sense to do that. So how much time on a project, I guess depending upon the project, would you go, okay, like you did the burial mound?
Mm-hmm.
Do you devote in the beginning to doing reference, gathering sources, inspiration or reference or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the job, and it really depends on, like you said, crossbow. That's a good point, because there's a picture in one of the ones that's got crossbow in it. The guy with the shield, he's got crossbowmen to his left and his right. And I wanted to make sure that the mechanical, I wanted to make sure the crossbows look like they were real crossbows.
Right.
So, and that takes a while, because I mean, Google now is 90% AI garbage now. So to answer your question, I mean, it kind of depends. I mean, I'll spend, a good half a day just collecting resource for stuff. But it depends on the job and how specific and how accurate I want to get with something. So
right. Well, I mean, one of the things about fantasy art is that you're trying to convince people that this,
I love this one.
This fantasy thing is actually real, right? It's like a real. It's not some bullshit. It's like it's a real place, And I remember a lot of time, a couple examples of like Frazetta, one of his most famous paintings is it's a Silver Warrior where the polar bears are pulling.
Yeah.
There are no reins on the polar bears.
Right.
Almost nobody pays attention to that.
Right.
But then when you look at it, you go, yeah, there's
they just run off. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Right.
Yeah, but conversely, there were illustrators back in the day, like Albert Dorn, who was one of the top guys for a long time. He had a staff, and what they did was clip stuff. So he had this huge morgue. So if he needed a phone, a horse and buggy, a Roman shield or whatever, he could go right and get it, because time is money also, right? Like that, if you're spending today Googling, that's money. That's your time. You're working, right? So, what is your what they used to call a morgue, or your library, your reference library? How did you build that up, and are you still building it? Do you organize stuff? How do you
Oh yeah, I'm always pulling images off the internet. I mean, my desktop on my computer's got 1,000 images on it right now. I'll just see a photo and I'm like, oh man, that hand in that photo looks really cool. I want to use that hand somewhere, and I'll grab it. And then I just organize it into folders. I have a big folder on my Dropbox that's organized, by, armor, and then categorized by like leather armor, plate armor, chainmail. And then I have another one that's just jewelry. And then I have another one that's people and hands and eyes and muscles. And so, yeah, I'm kind of crazy about, reference collection.
So how much time would you say you spend searching, and then how much time, of course, organizing it? Because if you have it but you can't find it, it's like not having it.
Right.
Yeah, I will spend a couple of hours collecting. Usually, I mean, a lot of my stuff now, I don't need reference for, but if I get hung up and I'm like, I've drawn the same sword 10 times in a row, I need some juice for just some new sword ideas. I'll go into my folder and I'll look in swords, or I remember this dwarf in this movie looked cool, and I'll specifically look up that or something like that. But yeah, it could be as long as 30 minutes or 5 minutes or hours. It just depends on the look I'm going for. So if that answers your question.
Can I just add that this beholder's gum work is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
No cavities. No deep pockets. It's like 6, 4, 4, 4, 3. See, I go to the dentist a lot.
So like an illustration like this,
yeah,
right? You're not drawing anything that's real.
Specific. Right. Yeah. I don't have to reference this at all. So.
Right. But you might have paid attention to looking at an animal,
right,
amphibian, where the inside of the mouth, what happens to the muscles and the strings of flesh in the tongue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you might notice something from a photograph you saw of a frog or whatever that, oh yeah, but add a little bit of character
Right.
to an area of your drawing, or even like scales. You can kind of just draw the bullshit scale,
Right.
Like bullshit chainmail. But if you don't actually know how chainmail is made, then you can't add your own twist on it.
Right.
I like what you said, twist with chainmail. I saw what you did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like that, and everybody has their own mix of what they want to employ, right?
Right.
Like Frazetta would take legs off. He would just cut the leg off a horse, or a lot of his famous paintings. The guy doesn't have a left leg or a left arm. He'd like that shape, But
Right.
if he had to draw something specific, like an old car, he would draw the shit out of that old car.
Right. Or I mean, John Byrne, who was a huge hero of mine when I was growing up. Awesome. And he was super fast, but you could tell he used almost no reference when he drew an animal. Like his animals were just all over the place, like his anatomy. I mean, you knew it was a horse, but you're kind of questioning whether the horse was built like that, so
was it him? Who was the one who drew really ugly babies? There was somebody.
Yeah. Oh, it was John Byrne. Yeah,
he could not draw kids.
Same thing.
Yeah,
he could not draw a baby to save his less funny.
No. And drawing kids and babies is really hard, right? You got to really put the time into that. So are there things that you find more difficult to draw, like your Waterloo or your Mount Everest, that you feel like you have to put more time into, or you want to put more time into, like it's a problem you want to lick?
I mean, I don't really like drawing technology stuff too much, like a lot of straight lines and stuff that needs there's nothing I like dislike drawing necessarily, but if I'm drawing a gun that has a lot of, I'm a stickler about being accurate. So if I have to draw a gun, then I'm going to try to make it look like a gun, and guns are kind of really hard to draw. I feel like, because there's just a lot of straight lines. It's different when you're just drawing, creatures or swords or something, you can just kind of free form.
Right.
Yeah, I that's why I kind of, I love doing fantasy artists, because it's, you just kind of get to use your own voice for it, So to answer your question, I guess it would be like things that are very strict that exist in the world, like buildings. I like skyscrapers, and I don't want to draw a bunch of skyscrapers. So
that's. I think it's part of why you draw and what you're interested in, right? Like some people love drawing buildings.
Right.
They love drawing animals, and other people go like, I never want to fucking draw a building in my, like, I remember reading Mignola said that he didn't like, if you notice Mike's stuff, he doesn't really draw perspective. He doesn't draw down shots. He doesn't draw.
Right.
He wouldn't, if he drew that shot, it would be flat.
Right.
Right. That was a conscious choice on his part based upon what he was interested in. Right. And so I guess that's what I'm talking.
Yeah, I mean, I hear all the time from artists that they hate drawing hands and feet. I love drawing hands and feet. I love drawing hands and feet. So it's just about what you enjoy drawing. So
that piece that we just had up there for a moment.
Which one? Oh,
the Heartbreaker. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Hold on. I lost it again. I'll go back to it.
Was that a digital piece?
Yeah, it's all digital.
It feels like it's pen and ink and scratchboard at the same time.
Scratchboard, yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
I was riffing hard on the Dave Trampier thing from D&D. Like the client specifically said, like, these are the characters I want, and this is what I want them to do, and I want it to look like this piece of artwork. So, yeah, that was very specific from the client that he wanted that to look like it did. So,
Nailed it.
thank you.
And
That was a lot of work, by the way. That was a lot of work.
I want to mention the search engine, DuckDuckGo, which is a search engine. They just introduced for their image search don't include AI in the results.
Oh,
So,
really? Oh,
yeah,
cool. I
there's an
didn't know that.
anti-slop filter that they've put on their image search. So if people want to check out a better search, DuckDuckGo.
Awesome. Cool. I will look into that.
Yeah. So also, and this is kind of what we had talked about on your first go around here on the podcast. We talked about artistic influences, and I know Mike has talked about Frazetta. And maybe could you go back into that a little for a little bit? I know maybe some of them, maybe not all of them, are like fantasy illustrators from game supplements, but maybe could you touch back on that a little bit, Kennon?
Well, early on, like I said, I was huge into John Byrne. I mean, I still love John Byrne's art. He was my top comic artist, and then I was influenced by all the D&D illustrators, and I was way into all the fantasy artists back in the day, like Roger Dean and what's that other guy's name? Frank Frazetta, of course. And then God, I'm drawing a blank. But my dad would always bring home. My dad would gave me a healthy dose of art books when I was a kid. So that, I mean, I just poured over all those old art books. Chris Achilleos. Yeah, just but I was self-taught, so I didn't ever really get a grasp on painting. So it was always line art, and I wanted to do comic book stuff early on, and so my stuff was always just heavily lots of lines. And I've kind of tried to do some painting stuff, but it's, you know, it never really kind of spoke to me. And now it's kind of funny because I've my journey was as I wanted to be either a comic book artist or I wanted to illustrate Dungeons and Dragons stuff. When I got out of art school, Wizards of the Coast had just bought TSR. So, and then that's when they had a drastic change in their art style for their books. And so the work that I wanted to do became obsolete and they didn't want it anymore. So I had to pivot. And now fast forward, 20, 30 years later, and the work that I wanted to do is relevant because people want it. So I kind of survived in other, genres until the work that I wanted to do became relevant, and the people my age became the people that were spending the money that wanted to buy the artwork. So, yeah, I got to.
So you're waiting for nostalgia, the kind of
nostalgia, yeah, and also projects that wanted line art. So I wasn't trying to, I wasn't trying to ape old school D&D. It's just that's the stuff I wanted to do. So.
Yeah, and it's styles. They come back around. I don't think that's
right.
necessarily it. There's also in the gaming world, there's been a I don't know, a resurgence in black and white books, black and white printing.
Right.
So this Kennon style's perfect for that. Did you ever think about changing your style to match that?
Oh, I did. I chased it for a while. I did several spec pieces in the early 2000s trying to crack in, and I just never got any. I just never got any traction, and so I just pivoted. But I did chase it for a while.
Have you done tattoo artwork at all, like flash art?
No. I thought about going into that, but I wasn't into tattoos at all. So
But I think you point out something that you that a lot of artists in the beginning don't think about because they're just starting out and they haven't seen something they were into driven away by market forces, which we all have no control of, like taste, right? And we're sort of facing that right now because I know a lot of people that are doing fantasy art are fighting AI, and everybody wants to use. All the companies are trying to use AI. My Facebook feed every week is full of more and more and more cartooning done, fantasy art done by AI. So how do you think about that?
well, I mean, AI has helped me career wise because I feel like I have a style that people are starting to recognize, and that's making it more valuable. So ironically, the AI, I mean, I'd hate to be a video game artist now because those jobs are going to go away. But now there seems like I feel just, I mean, like people are starting to recognize that AI, they're starting to recognize when projects have AI on their stuff, and it's making the project look cheap because they're using AI. And now there's more clients that are more respectful of using real artists. So, I mean, if you want to go cheap, then yeah, you could definitely use AI, but people will recognize it and your project will look cheap because of it. That's my opinion anyway. So,
Kennon, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about your process here.
Mhm.
Your stuff is so spot on in capturing the essence of these old school gaming books. Like you
Mhm.
open this up and I see this and I'm like, oh, this is like two Bahars, or you know what I mean? I'm an old nerd,
Right.
so like I could just connect myself to this stuff. But also their process in doing that pen and ink work back there was probably on like dual shade, right?
Right.
Or probably Zipatone or
Zipatone. Yeah. Yeah.
Zipatone like that. So was there a point in your kind of like the early parts of your career where you were trying to get these artifacts to do this work, or or did you just figure out how to recreate it later digitally, or was there in between for you?
You broke up. Repeat the question again.
So sorry about that. I'm just
No, no.
asking about your old school techniques with modern tools,
Yeah,
or if
it's all Photoshop, and I loved using Zipatone back in the day, and then
yeah.
I figured out how to do it on Photoshop. So yeah, it's literally just a layer of dots, and then I put a mask on it, and then I just erase the mask where I want the dots to show up.
Mhm.
If that was your question, I don't know if that was your question, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was it. And I guess my computer just transitioned to nighttime and blurred me out. But did you have a moment where you had stacks of Zipatone and some like dual shade board that with the solution you had to
dude, I probably still have some Zipatone around here somewhere, so it's probably probably not adhesive anymore. But
do you ever revisit that like just for some classic Zipatone on your forearms evening?
I haven't in a while, but yeah, I probably would if I found some, but I haven't messed with it in a while.
Okay, that was my question. I've asked for some questions from the chat, and I starred a couple of them. This isn't necessarily a question palooza, but Steve, would you want to kind of get to those?
Absolutely.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Jeff in YouTube asks, "Hello, Jeff. I'm getting Dennis Lubet vibes from Kennon's art. Love the hatching style." So it's not a question, but just praise.
Well, thank you. I don't know who that is. I'm going to look him up right now. Dennis Lubbe.
And Corporal Ziggy, welcome back, Corporal. So would it be a good idea, it's going to be a question of the group as well, but Kenan wants to take a first stab at it. So would it be a good idea to take an anatomy class for new artists, get a good grasp of how the body moves? And
100%. 100%. Nobody does that anymore. Like, yes, 100%. Draw from life as much as possible. It's just gonna give you a greater foundation to build on. One of my illustration teachers in school said, learn the rules and then you can start breaking them. And that stuck with me. So draw from life as much as you can.
Yeah. I mean, I think that if you understand the canon of human anatomy and human proportion, then it's a tool, and it becomes an expressive tool, and it doesn't become a trap. Like if you don't know how to draw hands very well, right, and you don't know how to draw feet very well, then every time you draw that, it's a huge problem. Does this time work? This time not work? If you're on deadline, that's a problem. And all the people that we're talking about, all the great artists that you all love, they knew how to do that stuff, right? Or they knew how to do it enough to be able, like maybe John Byrne doesn't really know how to draw a dog, but he knows how to draw a dog well enough to convince you it's a dog.
Right.
Because, I mean, one thing about fantasy art or comics is you do get licensed to exaggerate. Nobody looks like that, right? Nobody in the real world looks like that, right? But you have the license to create these drawings and create a style, right? Because we all love styles. That's what the first thing that attracts us is young artists is, oh, I like that style. That's cool. I like that style, right? And then, well, if you want to learn your style or you want to create a style, I always say that style is the expression of your knowledge, right? You can't draw something better than you understand it, right? You can't, like, if you're going to draw this cool dragon, I'm sure you've looked at alligators and, all kinds of real world stuff that helps you create something that is fantasy,
Right.
But I think people they think, well, there's a shortcut. There's a shortcut, and to me, there really are no shortcuts. What you do is you sort of deny yourself. You put yourself in a cul-de-sac sometimes.
It kind of, I guess it kind of just depends on how important it is to you as an artist, right? I mean, because there's lots of examples of artists that are very, very successful that are all about shortcuts. So I guess it just depends on how important it is for you and your style. So,
and that ties into a follow-up question from Corporal Ziggy. Is there a rule of cool? That's exactly what you're talking about. Is there a rule of cool for fantasy artists? For example, knowing something doesn't make structural sense, but it looks cool, so it stays in the piece. That's what you're talking about with the missing reins on the polar bears or the lopped off arm.
Right, but in the case of Frazetta, who is like the king of fantasy art, who cheated all the time, right? He cheated. He did stuff that doesn't really work in the real world, but he had such skill that he knew how to convince you that the Egyptian princess was not some misshapen dwarf below the drape that's going down her body onto the steps. If you look at that painting, you go, what is going on with her legs under there, right? You don't notice it because everything else is so brilliant, right? It's so brilliant that they convince you. And a person like Frazetta knew what he was doing. It wasn't an accident, right? There's to me, there's intentional distortion and then there's accidental distortion. And the more intentional your distortion is, the better it will work, because then you can use it, you can employ it, you know.
You know what, Kenan, I had a question. So my question for you, because we're kind of going back to reference, and we're going back to fantasy and things that don't exist. But at this point in time, there are things that have been kind of ingrained in fantasy realms that may as well be real. Like there's a style of dragons now, because there's so many dragons, right? There's a style. And also I know, and I don't know how the copyrights work, that TSR or Wizards or whoever's doing D&D at the moment only had copyrights on certain things. Like the Beholder is a very Hasbro Wizards of the Coast thing. And if what I just saw here, you probably have to call it an eye beast, or something like that, because they own that name.
They own the Beholder.
Yeah, the Beholder, and I think
there's a list of
Gelatinous Cube, and there's a couple of them
of free copyright free monsters that you can call them that. So
well, my question was, and there's also kind of eras of monsters. It's like, do you want like a first edition troll like you had in your examples, or do you want like a modern troll? So, you know, I wonder, when you're doing client work and they're not super specific with what they're asking for, do you have to go back and ask those kind of questions? Well, what kind of white dragon? You know what I mean? Does it get that deep?
Well, the clients I've had mostly are coming to me because they know that they're looking for the old school stuff, the first edition stuff. If they don't specify, then I'm just going to default to first edition or something I come up with. But
But so, I also think that to tie into what you were saying, Jamar, is because there's so much. You know, when we were kids, there was a lot less of this stuff.
Right.
The older you are, the less and less and less it was. Now the world is just full of fantasy art and comics and cartoons and everything. You know, so you as an artist, how do you think about that? How do you go, like, I'm going to draw a dragon, and there's been 50,000 dragons drawn in the last 20 years. What do I bring to drawing a dragon? It's like, oh, well, that just looks like a Jojusco dragon or a Frazetta dragon or a Chris, you know, or a Richard Corbin dragon or a Mobius dragon, or, you know, a Kim Jong-ji dragon, or whatever person or artist who was big for 5 years and had a following. They kind of have a style of dragon. Then you see House of Dragon. Now there's all these dragons on TV. So how do you tackle drawing a dragon that, you know, has something unique to it?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, you guys know, as artists, we have an internal library that we draw from. So, you're just going to start drawing a dragon, and you're going to draw from your library of reference and influences, and you're going to draw a dragon. I mean, if I hit on a specific part on a dragon, then I'll, like, you know, maybe look for some reference, or just, you know, something to get the juices flowing. But generally, it just start drawing. I mean, and draw from the library.
Why don't we get to, there's a couple more questions, and then we'll talk about your convention, and we'll talk some more about the Kickstarter, and then we'll wrap.
Well, again, you guys touched on this, but Eternity Forever on YouTube. Kenan, do you ever think of period accuracy when creating a piece? Does it even matter?
It does matter. It depends on the job and the client, if it's important to them. I have some clients that it's important to not draw swords too big. There's some clients they don't care, and you can just go for it. I like to draw specifically for my style. I like to draw weapons and armor and that sort of thing to look like they would actually work. They might not necessarily make sense for technology purposes, but I want the stuff to look like it could exist. I don't want it to just be ridiculously oversized shoulder pads for no reason and that sort of thing. So
sure, that's great. Corporal Ziggy, another question from YouTube. Has there ever been a piece that you started and worked on piece by piece and will never complete? Perhaps a piece that is so grand that completing it becomes your magnum opus.
I mean, I have a lot of stuff that I've started and haven't finished, but I don't think there's anything that's like my magnum opus. I'm always trying to improve. So if I put something down, when I come back to old stuff, I'm like, well, I'm good. I'm glad I'm stopped because it's just a learning experience and I'm moving on. But I don't have any like giant piece that I'm working on piece by piece here and there. So
was that red piece there for that same client who you did the green piece for?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This was for his rule book. He did a full color cover, and then he wanted to do the same rule book, but he wanted the rule book to be a monochrome cover to go with the other monochrome stuff.
That probably came out really sharp. Can I say that the title of this piece was "He Didn't Make It"?
Right.
And I've got a question here from Jeff Yoon on YouTube. Where does Kennon get his ideas from? I'm looking at his Instagram, and there's a huge array of concepts. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Again, it's just client notes. You get your client notes, and you just kind of go for it. I have a huge library in my head of just influences and references and that sort of thing, and you just you get those client notes and you get to work.
Love it.
You cleared out the questions. Thanks everyone for your questions.
Awesome, cool. So I want to get to real quick. I just saw it. Kennon, what's this?
That funny you asked. That is the mascot for my gaming convention that me and some buddies are putting together.
What?
Yep, we have our own gaming convention here in Austin. It's called T-Fest, and it is happening in 9 days. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
T-Fest is the natural progression of I was having a gaming weekend annually where a bunch of my buddies would come and we'd game for a whole weekend, mostly board games, a little bit of role playing here and there, but it was mostly board games. We did that for about 12 or 13 years, and the last one we had, there was in my living room, there was about 50 people, and my wife was like, okay, you need to have a real convention, or we need to, and I was like, okay, I was good just shelving it, but my buddy Anthony, who's Corporal Ziggy, he was like, no, we're gonna do a real con. So we put it together, and so originally we jokingly called it Geek Fest for years, and then one of our good buddies, Terry, who was just like a pillar in our gaming group, passed away. He had lifelong health issues, and he passed away in 2017, and so I renamed the thing Terry Fest for him. And then when we decided to make it a real con, we renamed it T-Fest just to kind of, avoid the explanation every time we said it. But anyway, but T Thulu, that's our mascot's name, and it is influenced by Terry. He had a ponytail. He was pretty much the comic guy from The Simpsons. Terry was exactly like that guy. Even the shirt is one of Terry's favorite shirts that I used, and so yeah, it's kind of. And Terry was actually the one that introduced me to Lovecraft back in the day. I was like a teenager when I met Terry. Terry was like the big brother I never had, and he introduced me to Call of Cthulhu and Lovecraft and all that stuff. And we gamed a lot through the years, and yeah, so he was a big influence on me growing up, and he was one of my best buddies. And so yeah, that's
That's
the story behind T-Fest.
What a great honorific. That's really cool. How's all that going? And you just so casually just said, "Oh, I'm running a gaming convention." It's
like I needed more stuff on my plate. Yeah, no, it's going good. I have a good group of friends and people that are really supporting me and helping me out and put this thing together. I mean, I couldn't have done it without them. Shout out to Anthony, Tyler, and now Michelle is helping out. So yeah, I've got a good group of people around me helping me out. So it's coming together.
So I'm not going to let this go because I think this is. I want people to go to Texas and check out your show. How is it? Is it a one day? Is it a weekend? What's the?
It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have, yeah, I know we should have probably just done one day our first year, but whatever, we're going for it. So it is around the 1st of August because that was when that's Terry's birthday, was the beginning of August. tfest.org is the website.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We're doing mainly RPG stuff. Well, I wouldn't say mainly. We did a lot of board games, but we're modeling our con after a lot of the RPG cons we go to. So it's our first year, so we're seeing what sticks with people and what people want to do. It might be different next year. We're already planning next year. So
so I'm going to keep picking at you with questions. So would someone that goes to T-Fest expect to have like open tables with gaming? Are there vendors? Is there sponsors? Is there like what do you get?
Yes, and yes. We have great sponsors. We have a bunch of the local gaming stores are sponsors. We have some of the big like Reaper Miniatures as a sponsor. Goodman Games.
Shout out to Reaper.
So yeah, we've gotten a lot of great help from the community, and a lot of the game companies have been real supportive in helping us out. And and we have I think 35-ish vendors.
Wow.
If you're familiar with old school D&D, Jeff D and Diesel are both going to be there. It helps that they live within 5 miles of the hotel. That helps. But they are our special guest.
That's really cool.
And we are very thankful to have them. Yeah. So I mean, yes, there will be open tables for gaming. There's lots of stuff on the website, the TT Tabletop Experience, I think is TT what it stands for. But anyway, if you go to the website, there's lots of games to sign up for. You can still host a game if you'd like. But yeah, it's 9 days away. We're officially single digits, and it's coming fast.
No pressure. So Kennon, are you running a table? You running some second edition? What are you doing? Are you running? You're running.
Man, I'm running the con, dude. I'm making sure. If I run anything, it's going to be Call of Cthulhu for Terry, but we'll see if I get to run anything. But I'm just handling stuff, hosting, which is what I enjoy hosting anyway. So I like just making sure people are having a good time and stuff too. So
That's fantastic, man. I wish I was in Texas for this event. I'll have to make concessions for next year. But you should get Stone Cold Steve Conley to come check out that show.
Dude, I can't wait until we have a budget to start having, like flying people in. I can't wait. We're just trying to break even this year. So
yeah. Well, it
yeah.
sounds fantastic, and Texas is such a hotbed of gaming. And again, like I've talked to Kenan offline, and like I have some ties to Texas, and I know Reaper, the miniature guys are in Denton, like down the road, right?
Yep.
So
yeah,
I'm very excited for you. If there's anything else we can do to get the word out, please let us know. I'm very excited for you.
Cool.
And I know
Thank you very much.
know you're going to roll a natural 20. Critical success. So all right, we're going to start wrapping it up, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Do you want to do a last plug for Monster?
Oh, yeah. So you can get the book. The book is now available on Amazon. Let's see. Let's see if I can get you a link. But you can get the PDF in digital form. You can get a soft cover, or you can get a hard cover. But it is now available on Amazon. So
and the hardcover is beautiful. The hardcover.
Is there a system that you can like sign them or do like remarks in them? Are you set up for that?
I mean, I signed all of the books that went out through the Kickstarter, but I can't do that through Amazon. But if you buy one on Amazon and you come to a convention that I'm at, I will happily sign it for you. So
like T-Fest.
Right, exactly, like T-Fest. I will be there. Let's see if I can.
Are you going to be selling your books at T-Fest?
No, I thought about having a table, but I don't want to cross the streams too much. I'm just going to see how the con goes off first before I start putting my stuff in it. But yeah.
And there's one last question before we get out of here. I'll ask it. So our good buddy Mladen from YouTube says, is there anything new in the fantasy genre that would maybe draw in new audiences? Most people think it's just Lord of the Rings, and that's as far as it goes. Good question. Ken, do you have an answer to that?
It's funny. I don't really pay that much attention to new fantasy stuff. Man, it's funny. The only thing I really consume myself is is stuff like Downton Abbey and the Gilded Age. Like, I just love those old period dramas, but I don't pay that much attention to fantasy stuff anymore.
And you heard it here first.
Yeah.
I love it. Dude, thank you so much, Ken. I hope we, as the kids say, got your stuff in. I hope that you feel like we represented your work. I'm so glad we're able to show it on screen.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on again. I really, really appreciate you guys, and thanks very much.
Yeah, everything was gorgeous. I love the maturation of your work. You keep getting better and better every time I see your new stuff.
I'm shooting for it, man. I'm always swinging for the fences. So cool.
And one more thing. And now it's funny. Like, you're kind of like an album cover now. You're just surrounded in darkness. Do you have a checklist? Because I asked you this in the DMs once. It's like, how do I know what you've got illustrations in? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Man,
I
need to go back through, but man, it would be a pretty big list at this point. I need to go back through, but I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that there is not a list that exists now, no. But I need to try to work one up.
All right, because I swore I backed something. I was like, did Kid do that? You know what I mean? You're like,
right.
Wait, is that your dragon? I can't. But yeah, that'll be your homework for me. So
okay, cool.
Thank you so much, Mike. Do you have any last words for us? I love this episode.
I was going to ask you if you had advice for someone who was going to start their own Kickstarter. You were thinking of doing,
Yeah, like I said, Kickstarter, I would have the project 90% complete, and I wouldn't on your first one. I would be very, very uh, uh, don't get too ambitious. Make it small. Don't get ate up with a lot of extra add-ons and stretch goals and all that stuff. I'd concentrate on just that one product and just getting it done. I think too many people get too sidetracked with extra add-ons and stretch goals, and all that stuff eats into your profit. It also adds, more. Uh, Plus, it affects shipping. Like everything you add might add shipping cost. I would just keep it very simple. Have your project done and start very, very modest for your first Kickstarter. Would be my advice.
Good job.
Steve knows, man. Steve's the master at Kickstarter, man. How many Kickstarters have you done, Steve?
11, 12?
Yeah, geez. Oh my gosh, that's a lot, man. Like I've only done like 3, so yeah, Steve's the guy to ask, man.
That's ridiculous.
That's great advice. That's great advice.
Steve, you have any last words for our fantasy guests?
I just love Kennon's artwork. I'm just such a fan. I adore it. It's like, I think if I saw this work when I was 17, I would have patterned my life after it. It's that
thank you very much.
It's that kind of work that you just the flavor of it is so good. The balance, the way you balance black and white in the design, it's just rock solid. I mean, I dig the old D&D stuff. I've got the orange spine books on the shelf over there. I look through it all the time, and this feels like a piece of that, and like it's sort of like finding an episode of Star Trek you've never seen before. You're like, you're like this. So you're like uncovering like history that I didn't know about, and it's awesome. And I'm so glad you're out there doing this.
Cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I love it. I love it. Getting facts. That's facts. I love it. Thank you, Corporal Ziggy. All right, guys, that's our time. Kenneth, thank you so much. When you're ready to come back, you blow the horn.
I'll blow the horn. I will call the banners. Yes.
I love it. Cool.
Thank you very much for having me again.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. We're going to do our outro. Hang out with us so we do the Kirby one. Guys, we are in the end game. We're at the end of the movie when everybody starts to walk off into the light. But before we go into that bright light out of the land of men, I implore you to come see us next week and also to watch those Kirby hands. Let's see some Kirby hands. Or let's do some Cthulhu tentacles for you. I love it. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Got to go back to the table. See you next time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.